What's good, YouTube? Your man Roberto Flack here. It is May 18th. We're a few short days going into the rematch. Bernard Hopkins, Jean Pascal for the light heavyweight title. And it will be on HBO. So, thank God. At least for those who have HBO. This is obviously a fight that had to happen. The first fight took place in Montreal, which is Jean Pascal's backyard. He managed to drop Bernard early in the fight, which I believe the first one would seem like somewhat of a flash knockdown, and the second one it looked like he caught him, but I don't think Bernard was genuinely hurt, like, wobbly legs and the whole nine. But interestingly enough, after that, Bernard seemingly took control of the entire fight, and he was almost the Bernard of old, man. Just doing the usual Bernard, man. Like, it's like he'll lunge in, throw it right, but then he'll grab you, push you off, and he just fights. He could fight dirty, but he's a very tactical fighter, man. Like, he doesn't. I can say he gets credit now. I mean, earlier on in his career, he didn't get much of the credit that he's getting now. But he obviously ended up facing bigger names, and he made a name for himself off of them. So the odd thing, obviously, with Bernard is he's 46 years old. What some would consider past the twilight of his career, but he's managing to still, beat certain fighters. I mean, obviously, styles make fights. He had a tough time with Joe Calzaghe, but was able to annihilate Kelly Pavlik, and finally got his second shot at Roy Jones, which the fight was. I mean, people bitch about the Pacquiao-Mosley fight, but that fight was just unbearable to watch. So, there were talks of him fighting Chad Dawson some down the line. Some people thought Bernard was ducking him. But Pascal comes in the picture and beats Dawson to everybody's surprise, considering Dawson had a grand opportunity even in the 11th round to knock him out and didn't do it. I think mainly because Dawson's not a knockout artist, and he's not somebody when blood is drawn, he goes for the kill. So, Bernard Hopkins comes in, and they fight to a draw, but I scored the fight in favor of Bernard Hopkins. That's always going to be debatable. I think a majority of people think Bernard won that fight, but this is why we have rematches, and we're going to see what Bernard really has left. I mean, we say this every fight, but he ends up surprising us somehow, some way. I think this fight could go similarly to the first one. I expect Bernard to be a little more cautious. As much shit as he's talking, he's going to be a lot more cautious going into this fight, because you can't think that Jean Pascal is going to go into this fight and not be 100% ready mentally and physically. Thing about Pascal is, like Bernard says, Pascal is like a 4 or 5 round, fighter. He did that in the Chad Dawson fight, in the sense of he wasn't very active, but neither was Dawson. So he kind of did the same thing with Bernard, but Bernard's obviously a lot craftier, smarter, more experienced guy than Dawson, and he took advantage of that. So I think Bernard, be it he doesn't show up very old in this fight. Some people could argue saying that he's already shown up old in previous fights, but I guess if you're going to make a comparison to his previous fight with Pascal to now, if he is slower, Pascal could win this fight, man. Like, that's not impossible. Do I think that's going to happen? No. I think Bernard Hopkins, he's gonna win this fight in ugly fashion. Trust me. If people are expecting a knockout and whatnot, it's not. I don't think it's gonna happen because Bernard isn't gonna fight in that manner to try to knock Pascal out. I think he's gonna win the fight and probably just outbox him for 12 rounds and make it a dirty fight and make it look ugly. But he'll get the W. So I expect Bernard to win this fight. And after that, man, really, we keep saying like, just give it up. Don't give it up in the sense of, you can't do it anymore or whatever. But there's really nobody in his radar for him to fight if you think about it. And I guess you could Andre Ward. I don't think so. It's not gonna happen. So I don't know. We'll see Saturday night. And as far as other news, I mentioned this in a prior video, but I guess we're getting official confirmation, words, signatures, or at least one signature has been signed for the November 12th Manny Pacquiao, Juan Manuel Marquez 3, which is going to be at 144 pounds. And, a lot of people, casual fans, really aren't excited about it because it's just another fight that's not the mega fight we want to see. But I think boxing fans are kind of torn between, you're making Marquez come up, but at the same time, it's like Marquez is still a good fighter. You never know, man. And leading up to this fight, I think the promotion of whoever's gonna do this fight could be HBO. They're gonna spice it up. Are we gonna get a better fight than the Mosley fight? I would hope so because of the fighter Marquez is, man. I think he'll take an ass whipping before he'll like jet on his bike. Or but we said that about Mosley too. So I don't know, man. Like I'm not like I mentioned before, man. I'm not like crazy excited about the fight, but I watch it. I mean, surprises and shit happens sometimes, man, and I like to be a witness to that at any possible rate. So I don't know, man. We'll see what happens Saturday night. And oh yeah, Andre Ward and Arthur Abraham, and that was a fight which I expected to go as planned or as it went. I think that might have been Andre Ward's best performance against maybe the level of opposition he was facing. And I tell this to people a lot, man, and it almost comes off as hate towards him, but I respect Andre Ward to the fullest, man. I think he's just like a solid fighter. The thing about him, man, is he's kind of in a position where like how Mayweather was years and years ago, Pretty Boy Floyd, where before the whole shtick that he was, putting out, that, the whole money persona, he was the same thing, man. Like, very defensive dude, very tactical, technical, and a straight edge fighter who got the job done. He had some knockouts and whatnot, but he wasn't an overly exciting dude more than what ended up becoming his persona, the whole money, Money Mayweather and whatnot. Andre Ward, to me, is not going to be like that. I don't see him doing that. I mean, he's a very humble dude, and that's why I respect him. And I just, to me, I'm wondering what's going to happen after this whole Super 6, because I think he's going to win the tournament. I see him beating Johnson or Froch right now. And he could try to unify the 168 with your man from Quebec as well. But it's as far as the glamour and the glitz and whatnot, I don't think it's gonna happen for him. He may be undefeated for a minute until he maybe moves up in weight. But if you look at the landscape, it wouldn't make sense for him to even try to move up, because there's nothing at light heavyweight or cruiserweight, and obviously he ain't gonna go to heavyweight. So what do you do from there? Stay at 168. The guys down there are eventually gonna come up. You know, Sergio Martinez. I mean, he's saying he's gonna go to 154, but you know, shit changes too. When it comes to that, you know, I guess you could put Paul Williams in there. You could put P-Rog, Kelly Pavlik, and again, these may be guys that he could beat, but like I said, man, he could be undefeated for a while. So we'll see what happens with Andre Ward, but props to him, man. He put on a really good performance, and we'll see what happens with Glenn Johnson and Carl Froch. Don't sleep on Glenn Johnson, 305 representative. Dude is coming to fight, and he always does. So that's gonna be an exciting fight. So we'll see what happens this Saturday, and talk about it then. Peace.